Every year in business teaches you something. Well, it probably teaches you a lot of some things. This past year for me was a sneaky, quiet, loud lessons in hard truths kind of year. The kind that wiggle their way to the surface no matter how much I try to push them aside. It was the kind of year that makes me question everything. And also from that questioning, I was able to get really, really clear, really, really grounded and focused on a whole lot of what is important and what is not. So in this special end of year lesson driven episode, I'm going to share 3 of my top learnings of the past year, how each has changed me, and also how maybe it can change you and your approach to your business and or the things that you're creating and or your life. My hope is that you'll feel inspired in 2 ways. 1, to consider your own lessons learned this past year, what truths they brought to light for you. And 2, of course, I want you to learn from my mistakes and fumbles so you don't make them for yourself. So without further ado, let's get into it. Welcome back to Small Business Casual. I'm your host, Emily Aborn. I'm a copywriter, and I've had over a decade of business ownership experience. I've had my hands in marketing, collaborations, strategy. I've ridden the whole roller coaster ride of it all, and I created this podcast to help you design a business that is true, blue, 100% you, inside and out. A business that works alongside you and with you and highlights your strengths, allows you to live and express yourself throughout your life, not just at work. And also, I want that business to be successful and make you money. So if that sounds like too tall of an ask, it's not. I promise. I really believe you can have a business that is thriving while also having a sustainable pace throughout your life. That's what I'm all about. That's what this show is all about. And if you ever want to connect with me, learn about who I am, just say hi. I'm just a message away. You can email, visit my website, check me out on social media. Don't be shy. But for today, let's just get into the episode, shall we? Okay, the end of the year is nigh. At the time of airing this, it is T-minus 15 days away. Yeah! This is usually my favorite time of year. I love reflecting and planning and celebrating and planning. And did I mention planning for the year ahead? But this year, I'm like kind of not in that mode at all. I'm sort of like coming in on fumes, coming in hot. Well, like burned, charred. I've mentioned this in the past, and I just have not yet really had the time to concentrate on reflection and planning. My favorite thing ever, planning. But I am taking some time off for the next 3 weeks. And this week, specifically, it is a flurry with friends I'm long overdue to see, family that I'm getting together with, and then family I'm helping with their businesses, stuff we've kind of put off all year due to both of us being a little busy, also sprinkling a little pinch of self-care, just a pinch, but it's in there towards the end. And then next week, we're going to be doing Christmas with my husband, Jason's side of the family. And then after Christmas, when not a creature is stirring, not even a mouse, I will be carving out time for me and my reflection and my planning. I even said no to something. That my husband really thought we should say yes to. I said no to afford myself some actual peace and calm and quiet and time to wrap my head around all that's gone down in the past 12 months, but also who I really want to be moving forward. So as I said in the intro, it was a sneaky big year of stuff. I kept myself really busy working. I think some of that was a coping mechanism. But despite that, the messages that needed to come through, they made their way through loud and clear. I was not able to stuff them down. And I had a lot of letting go to do. I had a lot of feeling my feelings to do. I had a lot of showing up and having my own back to do, and really standing strong behind my values and my priorities in so many ways. I know, let the good times roll, right? So today I wanted to kind of dive into 3 lessons, which if I had to summarize all 3, it is really about deciding who you are becoming, who you're for, and also who you're not, and also who is for you and who is not for you. It's about having the courage to let go of all the stuff that is potentially going to be getting in the way of you and your growth, because what I want is for you to clear that away, clear that clutter, let it go, so you can kind of have a fresh fresh slate for the new year, or whenever you're listening to this episode. Really, you can do this anytime. It does not have to be at the end of the year or into a new year. So the first lesson I gleaned from the past year, lesson number 1 is how you do one thing is how you do everything. So what do I mean by this? I'm going to give you a couple personal examples, and I also want to share an example from a fellow podcaster and friend of mine, Karen Kenny, who had an episode pop up right as I was dissecting and digesting this lovely life lesson. It came at exactly the right time. So let me ask you this to kind of set the scene. Have you ever been around a person who you get along with really well? Maybe they're really, really nice to you. Maybe they're super nice to you, but they are not, you notice, they don't treat others always the same way, with the same equality. And I don't just mean some others, like 1 or 2 people here and there who, get under their skin or get on their nerves, but it's like kind of most people you watch them interact with, and it's like, they're not nice to that person. They're nice to me, but not to anybody else. Or maybe it's just the opposite. Maybe you meet somebody who is cold or rude or disorganized or disrespectful or snarky to you, but then when they meet in front of a crowd, when they're speaking in front of a crowd or they're meeting with clients, they put on this like rosy, shiny, happy face. And you're like, who is this person? It's like when I don't know if this happened to anybody else, but when I was a kid, my mom would be like screaming and yelling at us and like, telling us to clean our rooms or stop doing whatever crazy thing we were doing at that time. Then the phone would ring and she would go, "Good afternoon." And it was like a totally different person, right? So it's that kind of thing. Now, in my mom's defense, she had 4 wildly rambunctious children, all under the age of 12 at one given time. So, but maybe this has happened to you. And your body and your brain or your heart or something, they're like giving you these little messages, kind of like, okay, if this is happening with these other people, it's eventually going to happen to you, my dear friend. It's like tapping you on the shoulder, right? Or maybe you observe how they treat you versus others. And you're like, why are they so disrespectful to me? Maybe it's because, I'm not doing anything for them or I'm of no use to them. And so they just kind of like disregard me or poo-poo me as small, right? Do not ignore these little signals. Do not ignore them in others, and also do not ignore them in yourself when you're catching yourself in these kind of like misalignments. How you do one thing is so often how you do everything, how you treat people. And I mean every person, even that obnoxious, I am so guilty of this, even that obnoxious call center individual that is not giving you the answers. Even how you treat that person matters. How you do things, even the little things, matters. This is something to get better and better at all the time. So I had this awakening this past year specifically with a friend situation, and I kept kind of like writing off the behavior. I wrote it off time and time again. Like, well, maybe they just had a bad chemical reaction between them and so, or you know what, maybe it was what that other person did to them. Well, let me just tell you, it was not. It was actually very definitive of their character. It happened time and time again to so many people. And it was actually who they were. It was who they are for now. And then that thing came for me by attacking someone very, very close to me and kind of causing me to question and challenge some of my priorities and some of my values. So as I was reeling from the destruction of that, and believe me, there was some serious destruction, that's just so happened to be when I heard Karen Kenny's podcast, where she talked about the love and intention that she was putting into a salad she was making. Now, you're probably like, what? How are you going to connect this friend situation with the salad? So the person she was putting a lot of heart and soul in this salad. And I've done the same exact thing where I'm like arranging it just so, like every fig and pecan and avocado slice must be in exactly the right spot. And I get it. So I do the same exact kind of thing. So the person she's making it with or for, they were like, why are you going through all that effort? It's just a salad. These people don't care. They don't care where the cucumbers fall. And she replied something along the lines of, for me, it's not what others think or what the approval of others is, but really knowing that I've put my heart and attention and intention into what I do. It is just a salad, sure. But even in those little things, who we are is revealed. And I'm going to include, please check the show notes to hear that episode because she says it far more eloquently than I do. And you have to hear her stories and in her words. But that is one lesson of my year. How you do one thing is how you do everything. And I was thinking about this just last night, actually, on my walk. It was cold out. I was tired. It was the end of a long week. I didn't really want to walk my usual 20 minutes or so after work. So I said, I'll just cut a little corner and I'll just go halfway. But once I got to that half, those words chimed in my ear for myself. How you do one thing, Emily, is how you do everything. Do I really want to be the person that does not show up 100% for myself and give myself some leg stretching and air after the day? Do I really want to let myself cop out just because I'm a little bit cold? No, I do not. That is not how I want to do things. I want to be the person who shows up 100% for myself. The next day, I also noticed it while I was cleaning my house. It was a Friday morning. I was really grumpy because, long story, but I just didn't really feel like cleaning that day and doing all the things that came after the cleaning. I was grumpy and I was stressed and I was busy. And do you know what else I was? I was complaining. I was complaining a lot to a friend, to my husband, to another friend. And then I started to say, Emily, how you do one thing is how you do everything. Come on. Do I really want to be the kind of person who is complaining all the time to myself or to other people? No. Do I really want to be complaining while I work or whistling while I work? So I think this very much applies both in our businesses and also in our personal worlds too. Are you cutting corners? Is that who you are? Is that how you want to do things? Is that how you want to do everything? Are you resentful towards certain people? Is that who you are? Is that how you want to do things? Is that how you want to do everything? Do you answer things tersely or bluntly or coldly? How are you treating people in and outside of your business? And on the flip side, there's a positive too. Maybe you are the kind of person who understands the importance of showing up with excellence in the small things. Maybe that is a representation of how you do everything else in your life. Every detail matters and you know it. And you put that time, intention, and attention on every single thing that you touch. You're kind to people you sit next to on the bus, the waitress, the cashier at the grocery store, the person who cashed your check at the bank. You treat every client like your only client. Every project gets your heart and soul. Your kids are kind of always getting your patience, right? And your calm. This is obviously not about being perfect. Okay. We all have days when we slip up and oops. I'm sharing these personal examples because those are moments where I said, this is not how I want to do everything. The moments when you snap at somebody and you can keep coming back to that. You can catch yourself and you can ask, am I doing this how I really want to be doing everything? Am I being who I want to be? Am I being who I am, even in this small thing? So I think it starts with really deciding who you are. And I'm talking from big picture down to who you are in those small little moments when nobody is watching. Are you the kind of person who pours love into the salad or the kind who says, you know what, it's just a salad? Are you the kind of person who treats everybody with respect? Or are you only treating people with respect and showing up with a kind smile when they can do something for you? Are you the kind of person who shows up with excellence in the small things? Or do you save your best for quote unquote, the important stuff, right? If you don't like the answer, you can always change it starting now. And I would encourage you to look at if you're cutting corners on yourself too, because that was one spot I really noticed it for me too. I might give my best to other people, but sometimes for myself, I don't always give my best. My friend's situation taught me this lesson loud and clear. How you do one thing, including handle when stuff like that happens to you in your business or with friends, that is how you do everything. So what if you just start with one small thing an email interaction or a graphic you're creating or a post you're doing or an interaction. Maybe it's a task you usually rush through. Do it with intention and care and like it really, really matters, because it does. How you do one thing is how you do everything, and you get to decide who you are and what that looks like. My takeaway this year was really to pay attention to others' integrity and also my own. I don't think that you can fake that, not long term anyway. The way that you treat people, that is who you are. The way you do the work that maybe no one else is even going to see, that's also who you are. The way you show up in those small, sneaky, quiet, unwitnessed moments, that is who you are. And people can feel it even if they can't name it. Lesson number 2 kind of goes hand in hand with this. Clear branding inspires confidence in who you are and also who you're becoming. So I'm specifically going to talk about rebranding because thanks to my collaborator and my birthday twin, Jessica Mercier, my brand this year got a stunning set of new dancing shoes. Now, my business and my brand have been on a very, very long journey. I've had 3 businesses actually, each with a different brand story, all of which have kind of evolved me into who I am and also who I'm becoming. So like you, I'm ever growing, I'm ever evolving and changing and all the time, inside and out, alongside my business. Sometimes it's all fine and well and good and those changes just happen. They don't require like a fresh look or feel. And sometimes they trickle out slowly, like years and years and years. And sometimes, like in my case this past year, it happens overnight and it just kind of like hits you in an instant. And you suddenly realize that things are not reflecting where you want to be taking this beautiful thing that you're building. You realize, this is not capturing the depth of my voice or who I am inside. And then you realize, I got to make a change. I got to make some changes around here. And that is exactly what happened to me. I can tell you as a copywriter, and also one who just collaborates with lots of web designers and graphic artists like Jess, branding is not just like a logo and your copy and fonts. It is actually kind of like deep work. It's a reflection of where you are, who you are, where you're going next, and who you're becoming next. It speaks to who you serve. So it's a bridge. I've always said copy and branding is a bridge between you and your clients. It's also a promise. It's like, here's the quality of work that I'm going to be delivering. Here's the impeccableness you can be expecting from me time and time and time again. I love how Danielle LaPorte says it. She says, your brand is a gateway to your true work. You are here to do something, to create something, or help others in some way. And basically saying your branding is what shows what that is. It is no small thing, which is why I knew it was time and I had to do it. And what I learned on the other side of that was just how powerful clear branding is. It inspires. Oh my gosh. I don't even know where to begin, but it inspired, I'll say what it inspired for me. A ridiculous, like self-confidence, finally, for the first time. It inspires you to take yourself a little bit more seriously maybe, or say, you know what? I'm not showcasing my expertise and my experience currently, and I'm ready to do that because I actually have that. It also allows you to have fun. I think it allows you to express yourself a little bit more honestly. It inspires better content, it inspires more content. I mean, as soon as this happened, I had like endless ideas. It was like my brain was just like, and now we will never stop barraging you with ideas. But I do think that is the power of great branding and great design. It really levels you up from the inside out. And I mean, personally, I even started dressing a little bit better after rebranding. And I that is not a joke. So I will say, it is not an easy process. It is a little tear-inducing sometimes. It takes time, to be clear. It takes commitment, clarity, honesty. But on the other side of it, it is like an amazing thing. It is very liberating, and it literally inspired me to start showing up again as me, which I'm not going to get teary, but that is what the best brands do. They also evolve with you. So they can grow alongside you just as much as a brand is like who you are. It's also reflective of who you're becoming. And I absolutely think Jess just knocked it out of the park with that whole entire concept. So I did a whole episode on this. I'll link it in the show notes for sure, as well as the post that went along with it. It's like a comprehensive guide to rebranding if you're interested, as well as Jess's contact info. I can't sing her collaborative praises enough. I know a couple of my listeners have used her for rebranding as well. And I just value Jess and the way that she respected my voice. She really held my vulnerability and my honesty. And then she really represented my personality in just the most amazing way through my brand. I could not have asked for a better collaboration. Finally, lesson number 3, no one person can be everything. And that includes you, my dear. That includes you. You know who taught me this amazing lesson? Well, a few people. First off, Jess. Jess, the one I was just talking about, who helps me with my rebranding. Because before I hired Jess, I thought to myself, you know what? I could just go ahead and do this thing myself. And hours and 6 dozen fonts later in Canva, I was like, oh my God. Oh, and don't even get me started on the Pinterest board. I was like, how do you even do this? Who am I? I like all the things. So I quickly learned, Emily, you are a copywriter, darling. You're not a brand designer. And also, nobody wants Emily touching their graphics ever. That is bad. But another person, in addition to Jess, who taught me this lesson was of bringing in an expert or delegating, in Andy's case, was Andy Lyons. You've heard me talk about Andy a million times, and I will not stop. She is the founder of the New England Podcasters Group, host of Don't Be Caged by Your Age, and the Pod Talk podcast. She is an all-around outstanding woman, and Andy is a pro delegator. She knows that she cannot be the sign-in person, the snack setter-upper, the meeting runner, the tech person, the marketing person, and the fearless group leader all by herself. So she is smart. She delegates, and she has taught me the power of the exact same thing. I try. Believe me, I do. I try to do it all myself. I really don't like asking for help. I don't even really like someone helping me bring in the groceries from the car because I don't like putting other people out. But asking for help is not putting other people out. And in some cases, it is literally giving somebody else a job, right? And they're like, oh my gosh, thank you for giving me work and for letting me do my job and letting me show up in the way I show up best. In other cases, people are just really, really happy to have a role and to be asked to help. So now Andy, because she is a pro delegator, she has delegated me when I get to be there in person to be the greeter. And I tell you what, it makes me ecstatic. It makes me so, so happy because when I have something to do other than be my awkward, normal networking self, it's like the best day ever. So one more example of this is just in our friendships and our relationships. I have a very different friendship, I guess, with my mom than some of my dearest local friends. I know who to reach out to for advice or pep talks or just a listening ear and a hug, or if I need a vent session. And I don't expect one friend to be all the things, same as you should not expect your partner and spouse to be all the things or everything. It's not fair on others. It's also not fair on you. And people are going to, if you put that expectation on somebody, they are ultimately going to fall short of it and you won't feel fulfilled, and it's just really unfair to do to them. So lighten that up. Let them be who they are and fill out your community spaces, let's say, with more faces that fill your needs, that meet your needs, and vice versa. So you might need a friend at any one given time. You might need a therapist. You might need a spouse. You might need a supportive group, a colleague, a parent, a sibling, a family member. The list goes on. We need all different kinds of peoples, flavors, types, relationships in our lives to be the very best version of ourselves, and also let other people be the best version of themselves too. Let them show up how they shine just as much as you want to show up how you shine by asking for help. You can't be everything. this applies to being jack of all trades in your business, spreading yourself too thin and trying to go in all directions all at once, juggling all those things you just actually don't need to be the one juggling. It is okay to ask for help. It is okay to find a professional to do a job that you don't have the expertise to do. It is okay to bring somebody on board to fill a piece of your business that you don't do, like a VA, for example. And it is okay to drop some of those balls altogether when you realize that they're not in line with the direction that you're headed in. So decide who you are. Let yourself become who you are becoming, but don't try to be everything or become everything. That brings me to the end. For once, I did not talk for 45 minutes, thank heavens. To recap today, the 3 lessons I came here to share with you from the year gone by. How you do one thing is how you do everything. Clear branding inspires confidence in who you are and also who you're becoming. And third, no one person can be everything, and that includes you. So next week, I'm super excited. I probably will be a little more calm and focused. We're going to be talking about how to reclaim your brain from all of this algorithmic online noise. And I'm going to share with you 2 experiments I'm trying in the last 2 weeks of the year around dopamine resetting, digital disconnecting. And of course, you are invited to join me on both of these little adventures. I'm going to make it super easy for us to participate. This is not like a quote unquote 21-day dopamine detox. It's going to be simple. So I can't wait to chat with you then. And until then, have a great week. Thanks for joining me on this week's episode of Small Business Casual. If you love the show, make sure to rate, review, and share it with a frazzled business owner that you care about. Because this shouldn't feel like a roller coaster ride, more like a scenic train ride with snacks. Don't forget those snacks.